sponsored by Dashlane. Over the last 18 months, we've gotten new iPads Pro, new iPhones Pro, and new Apple Watches with always-on displays. By any metric, this is Apple's best product lineup ever. But as slam dunk as some of these products are, they're still not all the products. Even now, at the end of the decade, there are still some pretty big gaps across the iPhone, iPad, iPod, yeah, I said it, HomePod, Apple Watch, and Apple TV lineups. So, since I covered the missing Macs in one of last week's videos, I'm going to strap on my Destiny prognostication engine again and cover all the missing iOS and iOS-offshoot devices in this video. I'm Rene Ritchie, and this is Vector. Apple has finally gotten its iPhone lineup locked down. iPhone 11 back at $699 and iPhone Pro up at $999. There are even rumors of an iPhone 8 based iPhone SE style iPhone 9 this spring to slide in under maybe as low as $399. But what the original iPhone SE showed us is that some people don't just want a cheaper iPhone, they want a smaller iPhone. Now, there are a whole lot of reasons it's hard to make smaller phones anymore. The iPhone 8 platform is all paid down now, the way the iPhone 5S was when the SE launched. Doing an all-new, all-modern smaller design would bring with it an all-modern design price. Some people won't care because they're willing to pay a premium for small, but the other issue is thermals. The modern chipsets that power the modern iPhones need a lot of power. Otherwise, you get shutdowns on spikes or intense performance management, all of which we kind of just hate. So, as much as many of us would love an iPhone 5-sized iPhone 10, I just don't think we'll see one anytime soon. I've been saying this for almost a year already. The history of human technology, from books to wallets to clothes to hell, tacos, is folding. We fold things over and double up on depth to save up on surface. This year, we saw everything from the silly Royale Flex Pi to the troubled Samsung Galaxy Fold to the now you don't Huawei Mate X to the nostalgia-driven and spec'd Moto Razr and other concepts besides, but we didn't see anything from Apple. That's because Apple doesn't alpha in public. They barely beta. So while I've heard Apple's been experimenting with foldables for almost a decade, I don't think we'll see an iPhone that opens up into an iPad until the technology is far more mature. Though, recent rumors of Samsung and Corning being close on flexible glass means it may not be that long a wait after all. The original iPad Pro was 12.9 inches. Right after that, we got one at 9.7 inches, which quickly mighty morphed into 10.5 and then 11 inches. What we didn't get, what we've never gotten, is a 7.9-inch iPad Pro Mini, or iPad Mini Pro. Last spring, we did get an iPad Mini 5 with OG Apple Pencil support, but not one with the new Pro design language, or the new Apple Pencil 2, the A12 or A13 Bionic, ProMotion display, USB-C, all the Pro bells and creative whistles. Certainly not one with a tiny mini smart keyboard to go with it, which, yeah, sounds all shades of ridiculous, but is totally the kind of problem I'd love to see Apple try and solve. Strangely, because of the keyboard, I don't think we'll see an iPad Mini Pro Mini, whatever, anytime soon either, but I'd really love to. The iPad Pro is a tablet that can convert into a sort of laptop, which is the opposite of Microsoft's Surface line of laptops that can convert into sort of tablets. But Microsoft leans so hard into that PC angle that they also have the Surface laptop, which is a traditional clamshell, and the Surface Studio, which is an iMac-style all-in-one desktop. Now, Apple's probably had iOS laptops running in the lab for almost as long as they've had iPads. If you're going to test Mac on ARM, you're also going to test iOS on the Macs after all. And I think iOS laptops would actually hold a lot of appeal for everyone from education to executives, the people who currently have to make do with Chromebooks or out-of-production 12-inch MacBooks. At the opposite end are creative pros for whom the current 12.9-inch iPad simply isn't big enough, and the current iMac simply isn't multi-touch or Apple Pencil friendly enough. Both of these products are so niche, and our Macs are probably so close that I don't expect to see either of them anytime soon. But I think very specific markets would love to see them already. The iPod Touch was the iPhone for people who didn't want or need a phone, and the cheapest way to get into the App Store. Both those things are still true, and you can still get an iPhone 5 style iPod Touch with beefed up internals for $199, but it's not modern anymore, and it's certainly not sexy. So, Instead, imagine an iPhone Pro style iPod Touch Pro with iPad Pro style design language and all the horsepower it needs to be a mobile gaming, mobile entertainment, and mobile camera powerhouse. Maybe there's a smaller, cheaper iPhone 11 and a bigger, more expensive iPhone 11 Pro version. Even if you have an iPhone in your other pocket, but especially if you don't, you could just shoot all your Instas, get all your iMessages, play all your Apple Arcade, and watch all your TV Plus and channels on the go. Then switch style dock it and keep playing when you get home. It's such an overlap with the iPhone that I don't think we'll see it, at least this much of it, from a company that already has the iPhone. But in a world where the iPod was treated as if the iPhone didn't exist, I think we'd see exactly this. I've done a whole video on the missing HomePods already, so I'll link that in the description. But it's almost a year later and we haven't seen much movement on the HomePod lineup beyond lower pricing, so it bears repeating. HomePod minis would be a great way to get more far-field devices into more and smaller rooms, and the HomePod Theater would just be the perfect Dolby Atmos accompaniment for the Apple TV 4K's Dolby Vision and all the incredible HDR and spatial audio content that comes with it. HomePod tech has made everything from the new iPhone and MacBook Pro speakers to the new AirPods Pro so much better than anything that's come before. It'd be a shame if the HomePod itself didn't get to benefit and improve from it as well. Again though, I'll only expect it when I see it. Apple made the iPod, then Apple made the iPod mini and killed it with the iPod Nano. Then Apple made the iPod Shuffle and killed all of that with the iPhone and Apple Watch. But even though the Apple Watch now has the Series 3 starting at just $199, they haven't really applied the iPod strategy to any other product yet, including the watch. And it feels like there could be room under the watch, maybe at $99, for something that's closer to the Shuffle. No, not something that shows you random time or gives you random workouts, though there's certainly a CrossFit partnership to explore in there somewhere, but just a band in yearly palettes and styles that does a subset of Apple Watch things, enough to give people who don't want to watch but do want some health and fitness features a way to get into that ecosystem. It's absolutely possible Apple will push the price of the watch down so low it leaves no functional room beneath it for an Apple band. But if Apple really wants to mainstream health and fitness, and that's the legacy they want to be known for, exploring even more mass market devices just makes the kind of sense that does. Google has the Chromecast, Amazon has the Fire Stick. I've made a whole video about how cool an Apple TV dongle would be, especially for travel, so I'll link that in the description as well. But we're in this weird middle ground right now where Apple is expanding their own original content, especially TV Plus, but including arcade, but also partnering with once upon a time rivals like Samsung, like Roku, like Amazon, to get that content built into those rival devices. I still think there's room for an Apple TV Stick though. One, if it could let you play or stream Apple Arcade games to any display, which is something Apple hasn't done with any rival yet. And two, because as much as some people trust Apple's apps on other devices, there's just more privacy trust with Apple software on Apple's own devices. And an Apple TV Stick is what would let you have your stuff no matter what device or where you go. Just like Dashlane, which can literally sync all your information between all your devices, iPhone, iPad, Mac, PC, Android, and once it's synced, you can just autofill anything you want. Passwords, addresses, credit cards, passport numbers, frequent flyer numbers, anything. So if you're logging into a website, buying tickets, booking travel, all the stuff you typically need to do when you're setting up and on the go, you can just do it. There's even a built-in VPN, so you can access the content you want to access when and where you want to access it. It's just the easiest, most convenient way to live your best digital life. Go to dashlane.com/vector to get a free 30-day trial of Dashlane Premium, where you can see these features in action and try out Dashlane for yourself. If you like it, just use coupon code VECTOR and save 10%. Thanks Dashlane, and thanks to all of you for supporting the show. So yeah, this is as close as I'll ever come to Apple product fanfic, and I didn't even hit the sci-fi part yet with glasses and cars, but I think a key part of thinking critically is realizing no matter how much each of us wants a specific product, it's never about just us. It's about having enough like us to create a market big enough to justify that product. Otherwise, we just all spend all of Apple's money. So I've given you my opinion on what I'd want even if I don't think I'll ever get it, at least not soon. But now I'd love to hear from you. Hit like if you do and share the video so more people find out about the channel. It really helps. Then subscribe if you haven't already, and Fate Alteration Engine that bell gizmo so YouTube will actually alert you when future shows go live. Then hit up the comments and let me know, which of these missing iOS devices do you want most and which do you think we'll see first? Thanks for watching. See you next video.